It's just gone 10:15 GMT. I'm Laura Kyle, and we've been watching proceedings at the UN's top court in The Hague, the International Court of Justice. Though we've been hearing Nicaragua's case against Germany, that Germany's support for Israel violates the Genocide Convention. Nicaragua told the court it's extremely urgent that Germany halts arms to Israel. Let's bring in our correspondent, Step Vasson. She joins us now live from The Hague. Step, you were listening in. You were in the court for most of those proceedings. We heard twice from the Nicaraguan ambassador and from two other representatives in this case so far. Talk us through the proceedings today.
Well, these past 2 hours must have been very uncomfortable for Germany. 80 years after the Holocaust, the country is now in the dock for facilitating genocide. The Nicaraguan legal team called it a judicial drama because this is an exceptional, unprecedented case. Two countries are here at the highest court who are not directly involved in the war in Gaza, but they both are signatories to the Genocide Convention. And that's why Nicaragua argues that Germany has its own obligation to fulfill this convention and not facilitate genocide. And it has also to do everything it can to stop a possible genocide. The ambassador of Nicaragua here in the Netherlands, Carlos Gomez, had very strong words because Germany has been saying from the beginning that Israel has a right to self-defense. He said clearly Germany doesn't see the difference between self-defense and genocide. That were very harsh words. And he also argued that this raison d'etat that Germany is always referring to, that its own existence because of the Holocaust is so much connected to Israel, is kind of misleading, according to the ambassador, because he said, don't confuse Israel with Jews. And he also says that there is not only this moral and feeling of guilt that Germany is expressing, but there's also a business aspect to it, because the arms sales by German weapon companies have gone through the roof in the last year. And he said it's not only Germany business as usual, because they know what is happening in Israel and in Gaza. They know, and they have now also been admitting in the last couple of months that they're very concerned about the possible breaches of international law, but they're still sending weapons. Germany is the second largest exporter of weapons to Israel after the United States. So this is what the ambassador had to say.
If the actions of Israel continue unrestrained as they have since its birth as a state, and they continue to receive the indiscriminate support of states like Germany, then a new generation of Palestinians will rise up again in the near future. And we will hear a future Secretary General commenting, this did not happen in a vacuum. The case before the court is an opportunity to break this vicious cycle. Without support of states like Germany, Israel will not feel it can act with total impunity. Nicaragua is hopeful that states, particularly with the history of Germany, will heed the decisions of this court.
So, Step, we heard there from Nicaragua for around 2 hours today. Tell us what we're expecting tomorrow and, indeed, when we might expect a ruling.
Well, tomorrow it's Germany's chance to defend itself, and Nicaragua's legal team has already been anticipating on a few aspects, and one of them is the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice to rule on this case, because, of course, Germany is not directly bombing people in Gaza, and it also has no soldiers on the ground there, so there is no direct link to this possible genocide. But according to the legal team by Nicaragua, there is definitely this obligation that Germany has to abide by this Genocide Convention. So we expect to hear the German team tomorrow. It's led by the highest legal advisor to the Foreign Ministry and a team from the UK and Italy who will present their case here. And then we will expect a provisional measure or a decision on provisional measures coming from the court here in a couple of weeks.
OK, Step Vasson from outside The Hague. Many thanks for bringing us that update on everything that's been going on there this morning. Let's take a closer look now at Nicaragua's plea at the International Court of Justice. Such measures are binding, but might not be enforced by individual countries. Germany is one of Israel's closest allies and its biggest weapons supplier after the US. German arms make up 30% of Israel's imports. That's according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. The country has increased weapons deliveries nearly tenfold in 2023, delivering $354 million worth last year. Let's bring in now Raymond Murphy. He's a human rights lawyer and professor of law at the University of Galway, and he joins us now from Galway in Ireland. Great to have you with us. We just heard from our correspondent in The Hague that this is an exceptional and unprecedented case. But how strong is Nicaragua's argument?
This is a very important case, and it seeks to clarify certain legal issues. I think it has made a strong case in respect of certain of the provisional measures that it is seeking, but I'm not certain that other measures it has claimed that the court should award will be successful. At the heart of this case, there are two legal issues, and I won't be over technical. The first is, what exactly does it mean, the obligation to prevent and to punish the crime of genocide? And what exactly are the obligations that follow from the Geneva Conventions and Common Article 1, which requires all states to respect and ensure respect for international humanitarian law? And they're the two primary legal foundations on which this case is made. And it has great relevance not just for Gaza, but also for all states that manufacture weapons and supply states and other parties with weapons that are ultimately used to commit violations of international law, human rights law, violations of the Convention Against Genocide, and a whole host of other international measures that seek to protect civilian and other vulnerable groups. I think it also, Nicaragua did address one of the central weaknesses in their own case, and that's a technical concept known as the indispensable third party issue. Israel is not a party to this particular case, but it is central to the arguments being made. In other words, there's an accusation that Israel is committing violations of international humanitarian law and committing genocide in Gaza. And usually they would have to be a party to the case before this could proceed. But as was rightly pointed out, I think, by the representatives for Nicaragua, we can't wait to prove that genocide is occurring. We're all on public notice, and all states are on public notice, that there are serious violations of international humanitarian law, and the International Court of Justice has already established that there is a plausible case to be made to protect the civilians of Gaza from genocide. So there is a lot of merit in the case. There are a lot of political and legal implications for this case. And what does surprise me is, unlike the case taken by South Africa, how little public attention and international media attention has been given to this case.
Because if I could just jump in there, Raymond, much of what the court is covering today, I mean, it's uncharted territory, isn't it? So this is a case that really could strengthen international law.
It is, and for that we owe a debt of gratitude to Nicaragua. If we get clarification on exactly what it means, what are the states' obligations, all states' obligations, to prevent the crime of genocide, and what are the legal implications for Germany and other states that are providing weapons to Israel, now that they are aware that there's a plausible case for genocide and that there's overwhelming evidence of a range of serious violations of international humanitarian law. Viewers might wonder, why did they not take the case against the United States, seeing as the United States is the primary supplier of weapons to Israel? The reason is simple, in that the United States has opted out of the relevant clause within the statute of the International Court of Justice and also the Genocide Convention that would allow such a case to be taken against it, whereas Germany has not done so.
OK. Raymond Murphy, many thanks indeed for bringing your expertise as we open that first day of the case against Germany brought by Nicaragua to the International Court of Justice.